This is Overthinking with Carmen. I'm your host, Carmen Michael Smith, the overthinker in chief, spiraling publicly so you don't have to. And this week's spiral doesn't begin with a headline. It begins with something quiet, something holy. It begins with rest. See, after I lost my job in January, I went into overdrive. I wrote and released a book. I launched the Prophetic Intelligence Consultancy. I preached sermons. I filmed and created the first Senna sermon. I even returned to writing and producing music. I created a media company. And I told myself this was because I wasn't working 9 to 5, that I was resting. But I wasn't. I was just producing in a different costume. Until a few weeks ago, when my best friend offered me a trip to Mexico. Now listen, I hesitated. I spiraled. I overthought it all the way through. Because when you don't have income, rest feels like risk. You know this as a parent or as a worker. When you have deadlines looming, when you have children to feed and soccer games to get to and all of that stuff, rest feels like a risk. But something in me said, go. And when I got there, oh yeah, I was tired. Like bone deep, soul weary tired. But I also didn't want to miss the beauty. So I found a rhythm. I slept when needed. I explored when I could. And I let my body lead. One morning, I went to the ocean. Not for a swim, not for a picture, just to stand in the water. And the water hit me like a wave and a whisper. See, it was washing something off of me. So I submerged my full body. And when I arose, I realized that it was washing away the remnants of the old job, the identity that I had worn like an armor, the striving, the proving, the performance of Carmen Michael Smith. And look, I know how this sounds, but the ocean baptized me, not into a religion, but a release. And I came out of it new. No, not with all the answers, but with the permission to stop holding so tightly to the old ones. And that's when it hit me. See, we love to talk about rest as a resistance. And it is. But I believe deeper than that, that rest is also spiritual. It's sacred and should be treated as such. Even in Genesis, God created the world, saw that it was good, said that it was good and very good, and then God rested. See, we're the only ones who keep creating and keep grinding and keep pushing without a pause. But if rest was good enough for God, why do we treat it like it's failure? Now, let me tell you something else that affirmed this lesson. I went to the Cowboy Carter tour and I saw Beyoncé. And there's a moment when she's transitioning between sections of the show that all the lights go out, the screens light up and start playing the content, sort of the intermission or transitional films that she's created. And Beyoncé has to turn from the edge of the stage down by the audience and walk all the way back. Not dances, not performs, but from the front of the stage, and it was long, all the way back. She's just walking. And when she passed, I caught a glimpse of her face. And to me, it looks like she was reflecting. So you could see the weight of everything she's carried. The girl from Houston, the light-skinned girl, the rich girl that people thought had it easy. The woman they said wasn't black enough. The one they said screamed too much, oversang everybody else in the group, or she didn't sing black enough or R&B enough. Remember the woman who couldn't act and shouldn't do movies, the one they said fell short even as she kept rising. And if you think even about this Cowboy Carter tour, just a few months ago, the headlines were, the concert's going to be a flop, tickets are not selling. I want to note that there was not an empty seat in the house. And now here she is, Beyoncé, with Cowboy Carter as a statement, a story, a symphony. Every light, every costume, every beat was intentional. But you know what struck me the most? Is that she's not touring nonstop. She's not burning herself out. She does a show or two here with days in between, and then there's even more days before she goes to the next city. Beyoncé is building rest into her rhythm. And maybe that's the secret. So you only get to your second act if you make space for rest between the scenes. Now I'm talking to me. You only get to your second act if you make space for rest between scenes. See, I know this culture wants to convince you that rest is weakness, that pause is punishment, but can I remind you of something? You do not become irrelevant when you rest. You don't fall off. You become real. See, rest isn't giving up. It's giving in to what the body already knows. It's saying, I've come far enough to sit down for a moment. As the old folks used to say, rest yourself. Take a load off. See, I think about the long jump competition in the Olympics. And maybe I've said this before, but if so, go with it. See, because in the long jump, you run and you jump from the starting line until you land. And most of the time, they don't say you landed 2 feet away from the end or 3 feet away from the end. They measure from where you've started. I say that because some of us are out here so busy beating ourselves up for where we haven't landed that we haven't even celebrated from where we leapt. So you've been carrying so much, doing so much, becoming so much, and if you never stop long enough to honor the distance, you'll never get the perspective needed for your next leap. See, we don't serve a God that says grind. We don't worship a culture of hustle. We don't model our lives after a creator who just kept going, but one who rests. And if we believe what we say, that we are made in God's image, then we have to trust. Rest is our birthright. And no matter what you're building, no matter what you're creating, no matter what you're becoming, it requires rest. Because rest is not a reward for getting everything done. It's a part of doing the work well. Yeah, rest is not a reward for getting everything done, Carmen. It's a part of doing the work well. It's a part of the strategy, part of the calling, a part of the plan. Because you cannot carry your purpose on an exhausted soul. So here's some questions to spiral with. What would it look like for you to rest before you crash? What are you pretending is sustainable that's really just survivable? What if the pause isn't the delay, it's the preparation? So thank you, my fellow overthinkers, for letting me overthink with you again and again. And may I leave you with this. You don't have to earn your rest. You don't have to apologize for your fatigue. And you don't have to wait for collapse to be still. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to release, and you are allowed to start again. New and clean and whole. So until the next time, may you exhale the expectations. May you inhale the grace. And may disruption be the catalyst for your liberation.